Sweet Adjeley Continental food, madam. Food, madam. International food captain. We'll show you how to make.
Hello sweet team, welcome back to my channel. This is Sweet Adjeley. I am so excited to be with you all today, and I hope everyone is doing wonderfully well. Today we are on our way to Nigeria with this very simple okra soup recipe. So I hope I make my Naija people proud. Let's get right into it. For this delicious okra soup, I have some beef, cow foot, snails, cow skin, wele or pomo. I'm also adding some shrimps that I have cleaned beautifully, deveined, and also taken the legs or feet off. I wanted to keep the shells on without all the extras, so it's optional. You don't have to do that. To begin, I'm going to pressure cook my cow foot so that it'll be the same tenderness as my meat. I season it up with some all-purpose seasoning, salt, and I'll add enough water to cover it up. I'll then go ahead and chop up some onions to add to it because I want my cow foot to be very flavorful. Next, I'll be blending up some garlic, ginger, habanero pepper, and some onions, which we'll be using to steam our meat. In a pot, I'm going to go ahead and add in my meat. To that, I'll add some beef seasoning, salt, spice blend cube, and I'll pour over our blended ingredients. I'll cover it up and bring it to a boil. I'll leave a link to how I make the spice blend cube in the description box for you to check out, okay? Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to give it a good stir, cover it up, and continue cooking. While our meat is doing its thing, I'm going to go ahead and prep my veggies. I have one medium red onion that I'm going to chop up. I also have some tomatoes and one large red bell pepper. Now, with Ghanaian okra soup or stew, we love the draw. Oh my goodness. So we usually add either saltpeter, kanwe, or baking soda to help us get that draw. But I've watched so many Nigerian cooks on YouTube and they do not use that, so they don't get as much draw, at least in my opinion. Okay, but if you like the draw, definitely use just one tomato, because the more tomatoes you use, the less draw you will have. And since I'm already not trying to get a lot of draw, I'm like, add enough tomatoes. This is the only way I'll get my kids to have vegetables. They don't care for vegetables, but they will enjoy okra soup or stew any day. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and chop everything up and set it aside. I'll chop up my okra as well. Alright y'all, at this point I check on the meat. It is halfway cooked and my cow foot is also halfway cooked, so I add that to the rest of the meat. I'm going to add some smoked turkey as well. Stir everything together, taste for salt to ensure that it is at the right taste for me, and I'm going to allow it to continue cooking. Okay, always taste your food and adjust the seasoning as needed. At this point, I'll add my snails. I like to have some gru when I'm enjoying my snails, so I don't cook it to be too soft. I'll give it a stir and allow it to cook for about 5 minutes. Next, we're going to get started with the base of our soup. So I have my pot on fire. To that, I added some palm oil, and I'm going to go ahead and add in some of my chopped up onions, and I'll cook this for about 3 to 5 minutes. I also went ahead to chop up some habanero peppers, so I'll add that and then I'll immediately add in my tomatoes. Now, if you allow this fry in the oil, everybody will begin coughing in the house, and we do not want that. So I'll give it a good stir and then I'll let it cook for about 8 to 10 minutes. I enjoy a lot of Nigerian cooks here on YouTube, and I realized that what we call stew, they call soup. Like what we call spinach stew that we add agushi to it, they call egusi soup. So yeah, this soup is looking like Ghana stew. Meanwhile, it is Nigerian soup, okay? So at this time, I add my wele pomo. I'm in Nigeria, so I have to be speaking Nigeria language. So I added my pomo to the rest of the meat. I'll give it a stir, and I'll let everything cook for a final 5 minutes, and it should be done, okay? Everything is at the tenderness that I'm going for. I don't want it to be too soft and melting. No, especially the cow skin and the cow foot. If it melts, it doesn't taste as good. You want that gru, trust me. Back to the stew. It is looking good. I'm going to season it up with some shrimp powder, which is essential to this recipe. But if you're allergic to shrimps, you can use chicken powder or mushroom powder, beef powder, whichever one works for you. I'll leave a link to how I make it in the description box for you to check out, okay? So I'll give it a stir and allow it to continue cooking for about 10 more minutes. Meanwhile, I check on my meat and it is done. It is nice and tender and ready for our soup. So I'm just going to turn the fire off and set it aside and get started with my banku. In a pot, I'm going to add my banku mix, which consists of fermented corn and cassava dough. All right, I'll add enough water and I'll mix it until it is nice and smooth. I'll then add some salt to taste and I'll begin stirring it up. Now, I have a step-by-step tutorial of how to make banku on my channel, so I'll leave a link to that and also a link to how I make my banku mix. So do not forget to check everything out if you have not seen it yet.
Continental food, madam. Food, madam. International food captain. Who show you how to make pizza, jollof, banku and okra soup, sushi and pastries. All this and more. Sweet Adjeley. Sweet Adjeley. Sweet Adjeley.
Our banku is looking good. So now that I've added water, I'll cover it up, lower the heat and allow it to do its thing while I go ahead and check on our sauce. That is looking beautiful. It is ready. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my meat, and I'm adding it in together with the stock. And since I don't want anything to go to waste, I'll rinse out the pot and add that water also. I'll also add in my shrimps, give it a stir, and finally I'll go ahead and add in some baked mackerel. I cannot enjoy okra soup or stew, especially okra stew, without mackerel. I love ginger, y'all. I can't tell y'all how much. So whenever I'm making okra soup or stew, towards the end of it, I like to grate some ginger and add it. And I usually freeze my ginger so it grates like snow. So at this point, I add my chopped up okra and I'm adding in the ginger as well. I'm gonna add in the rest of the onions and the chopped up peppers and everything. I'll give everything a stir. This right here is done and we only need to cook the okra. And as you know, we do not want to overcook our okra, so this have just about 5 to 10 minutes to be done. So once I give it a good stir, I'll allow it to cook on medium heat while I go check on my banku. And as you can see, our banku is looking good and it is ready. So all I have to do is to stir it up to bring it together to be nice and smooth. And then I'll roll and wrap it up and we will be good to go. Alright, y'all, our banku is done and our okra soup / stew is ready. Yes, Nigerian okra soup. Meanwhile, it is Ghanaian okra stew. This was super duper delicious, except my youngest son wanted it to be a little more draw. He loves the slime. Without the slime, he does not consider it okra soup or stew. So all that is left is for us to serve and enjoy. Everybody needs to head to my kitchen. I am over here waiting for my super sweet team members so we can enjoy this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give your girl a thumbs up. Thank you. Share and subscribe if you have not done that yet. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to my channel. This is Sweet Adjeley. Thank you so much for subscribing. And to the sweet team, y'all know I love you. Until I see you in my next video, stay safe. Keep loving each other and remember that the love of God and family is life's greatest blessing. And guys, ke onamini ochemi sweet mahabotu. Bye y'all.